Have you ever wondered where recyclable items end up if they did not go through the proper recycling process?
So in this slide you can see on the left there's a picture of Garbage Island, and in the 6 decades of plastic production, 8.3 billion metric tons have been produced, and 6.3 billion of that have become plastic waste. This ends up in our landfills, which is a picture shown on the right, and which can also eventually end up in our oceans. In our world's oceans, there are several collections of garbage and plastic that have accumulated from human waste. So you can see just like Garbage Island. And every minute, 1 garbage truck of plastic is dumped into our oceans. And then about 8 million metric tons of plastic are also thrown into our oceans every single year.
So one story that came to my mind when thinking about this was I was on a family trip to Mexico. And on the plane ride, I looked out the window and saw this big pile of land. I didn't know really what it was, but as I looked closer, I recognized that this was garbage. It was not a piece of land. I couldn't see the end of, either end. It was way too big. This sight made me feel disgusted and finally fully realized this big issue in our world. So I'm Curtis.
My name's Andra.
And we are Trash to Treasure, saving the world from plastic one item at a time. This is a global issue, but our company focuses in on solving the problem in universities and colleges. In 2016, around 2.03 million students were enrolled in post-secondary institutions in Canada. Even if just a small percentage of these students do not recycle a water bottle, pop can, or plastic cup properly throughout the week or day, this can easily accumulate and add up to a large amount, causing pollution in our waters and killing all different types of species.
So students at universities and college campuses don't really use recycling bins as they should, whether this is out of laziness or just because recycling bins aren't actually provided in very many spots around campus. So as you can see on the right, there's a picture of the campus at Wilfrid Laurier University after an event. You can see not a lot of students are using their recycling bins there. So this leads to campus grounds being very dirty, recyclables not going through the correct recycling process, and it adds to the global issue, as well as universities and colleges get bad eco-friendly reputations.
We conducted a survey getting a response for over 40 university and college students about their recycling habits, how their access to recycling bins, and how they feel about our big idea of trash to treasure.
So this was just something that we wanted to make sure would work, a little bit of evidence, and then another place that we saw that this was actually really effective was at the Country Music Festival, Boots and Hearts. Basically, their initiative was if you filled up 1 full clear garbage can, you would bring it back to a booth and they would give you either a free t-shirt or a free slice of pizza. And I myself brought in a full garbage can, and there was a huge line to bring in all the recyclables that would otherwise end up on the ground. So you can see that this is very effective. So about 87% of people responded to using recyclable items several times throughout the week. As you can see, most people said they use a recyclable item every single day.
About 70% of people do not recycle their items properly.
And then here's 65% of people don't see others using the proper recycling methods.
80% of people voted to recycle properly more often if there's an incentive to.
And then finally, 89% of people said that they would be interested if the incentive was to build credit towards things like free food, drinks, and school supplies such as textbooks.
Our solution, Trash to Treasure, is the solution to this major problem in our world. We have developed a quick and easy process to help benefit broke university students earn free meals and supplies, education institutions build their corporate social responsibility, and ultimately helping save the world from plastics.
So basically, our idea is to team up with universities and colleges, as well as bigger companies that provide products for these universities and colleges, and have them implement trash to treasure recycling machines all over each and every campus. So the incentive would be that big companies would want to sponsor us because they would want to help build their own company's CSR, and which would also help promote their products in the school and to other students. And then the process would be that students simply insert a recyclable item, which could be something like a bottle of water, like a Tim Hortons cup, into the bin, and then via camera, the machine could recognize it as recyclable, and they can tap their student card, and then the machine just provides them with points, and so they can go towards any rewards that they want.
So this method is easy as it gets, and with the amount of universities and post-secondary campuses, a massive impact can be made, and it's right in the palm of our hands.
So our next steps are just to create a prototype for our trash to treasure machine, as well as pitching the concept to different universities and colleges, as well as different sponsors. So basically, another thing quick is that the UN said we have about 22 years to change our greenhouse gas emissions before there's terrible repercussions. So this is another reason that we have to get on the initiative of contributing to the recycling problem.
Now, are you ready to save the world from plastic one item at a time?
Great job, guys. Judges?
Awesome presentation. I see you folks followed the PACES model quite well that Kevin Smith usually teaches. The only thing that I would have as a question is just on the design of the product design. I would have liked to see a little bit more of how that would work, because that would be where a lot of that, I would imagine, the R&D and the money goes to developing that.
So basically, at first that we thought we would want to make our own bin, and first we wanted kind of a software technology that would actually detect the product as being recyclable, but then we thought about costs and startup costs, and that could potentially be a lot. So after talking to some of the mentors here today, we kind of shifted our idea to implementing just regular recycling bins, and then just having the trash to treasure technology, whether that be a camera, which a school could just have lying around, extra security, and making some sort of scanner where they can just tap their student card to accumulate the points. And the camera, because there are cameras that can item detect, so the software is pretty, I heard, accessible, and it can be pretty cheap to come by. So they would just hold the product in front of there. It would take a brief second for the item to scan, and then they would be able to place it for rewards in the bin.
And then just last quickly as an offer, because I always think of this, I have a good friend of mine who's in the reward space, 35 years, because everything here is based on rewards,
Yeah.
right? And he obviously can help you guide through that, how to package it properly, okay?
Thank you.
So your first market is colleges and universities, correct?
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to speak with any of them? I'm thinking back to Brooke's presentation that sometimes they can be slow to move and come on board, and you have such an exciting initiative. Have you thought of timelines of how this might move forward?
No, well, we have not spoken to any universities, but I'm sure, getting that process started could be a task. But as we were at UOIT last Friday, we did notice there was not a lot of recycling bins available. So getting that first pitch into maybe that school or any school that would be interested, we could really prove that point and hopefully start that process rolling quicker, as this is a big problem in their schools.
Yeah, just
Accessing through student groups who then have student government groups that have influence within the local initiative that way, so they can sort of be a bottom-up one, might be a faster track.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, I have a comment, not a really question, but a comment. Just like size of market, I would probably look at high schools as well, and I would also look at and really any other institution. I mean, you can go to theme parks and malls and everything else, so where anywhere there's people are throwing out trash. So the more that can be diverted, obviously there's two parts of it. Part of it is the economic part of it, which that's really, it's great that you want to save the world. Everybody wants to save the world, and everybody wants to recycle. And listen, when I grew up, we used to burn everything, and we would throw everything in the garbage. So the recycling was just, it never happened. So now I put out 15 blue boxes, and it has to be all sorted and everything else, which I have no problem with. But when you go to make that pitch to companies, you have to talk to them on the economics of it. So it's great to say on the green initiative, companies love that because it's the right thing to do, but you also have to talk to them about the economics of it and say, okay, so if we do this, so the points cost them something because they're giving up something, but if you can divert X, then your costs of this, but so you want to look at sort of the other side of that coin as well and talk about, okay, so here's the cost savings to your corporation, whether it's, because all of these are businesses and they're all universities have a budget and they have X number of dollars they have to spend on certain things. I think it's a phenomenal idea, and I think any way to incentivize people to do the right thing, because some people will do it naturally. Like you picked up a whole bag of garbage, you didn't have to do that. Was that buzzer for me?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the trick, don't go last.
Thank you.
Anyways, great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.